everyone. Hello, all. Welcome to this November 11th edition of Show Business. We're talking about the weekend that was November 6th through 8th, and then other movie news. I come to you, as always, as CP.
And Jaime and Fuego from The Horror Show and Infuegotainment.
And I am Lindsay of My Two Cents of Nonsense. Howdy doody, y'all.
And I'm Chauncey K. Robinson of Twisted Woman CKR.
Awesome. So I'll get to the numbers real quick, and then we're just going to retread a bunch of shit from last week because there was only half of us. So this week, Let Him Go crossed the $4 million mark. So that's the first time that's happened in about 7 weeks, I think.
Wow.
So 4 million might as well be 200 at this stage. Number 2 was Come Play with 1.8 million. Fuego, didn't you say that was kind of wretch?
Well, it was okay. It was just despite a PG-13 rating.
That's
straight up PG. Yeah, it's got the girl from Community in it and Amblin Entertainment. It was. Cecil liked it. I found it kind of dull, but
I'm mixing that with something else. That's not what I was thinking of. 3, War with Grandpa, again, 1.5 million. 4 is Honest Thief with 1.1, and Tenet in 5th with 905,000. Which Tenet finally got home release dates. You'll be able to own it in time for Christmas. So
those prices are crazy, though. Did you hear about how much they want?
The MSRP. They're a little $50 for 4K, and I think $40 for a Blu-ray.
Yeah, $30 for a DVD that we assume
$30 for a DVD.
Bare bones, because they typically don't put the extras on DVDs anymore. So that's just
you're not. Listen, Warner, you're not going to make up your money on that end. Sorry, just let it happen. So. Last week, Fuego and I discussed at some amount of length the latest from Blumhouse in the anti-man-hating universe that is Jason Blum. And it is another remake. Jason Blum is just taking movies, remaking them, and throwing this woke twist on them. But those are my words. I'm not going to speak on behalf of 50% of the crew here. I don't know which one of you would like to take it. Fuego and I talked it to death. We are talking The Craft Legacy. Lindsay or Chauncey, by all means, what's up? What did you think?
Well, I liked it.
Oh, no.
I didn't hate it. It was, I would say it was probably for me like a B-, maybe a C+ B- kind of territory. I actually think it did better. I'm not one of those people that thought The Craft was the holy grail of movies. So this was like a continuation of, there's like some about 15 some years before or something like that, or after. And I feel like it actually rectified some of the issues that I had with the original in terms of who they thought the villain was. Now, I don't think it was necessarily anti-male. I think it was anti-toxic masculinity. I think that's what they were really going towards, because there were male characters that were just fine. It wasn't like all of the guys are crap. It was more so, here's this symbol, not to get into spoilers, but here's this symbol of this, really strong macho man.
And Jordan Peterson. If you're talking about David Duchovny, he basically was Jordan Peterson.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to do spoilers.
We did it last week.
Okay.
Sorry, that's
so he was like the symbolic thing of, this is how you are, real man, and weakness versus strength, and everything's in our image. And I think it actually taps into the history of why witchcraft, or the burning of witches, or the persecution of witches came about, was this idea of, like, you see that meme going around of a woman in 1600s. Well, I was thinking, and then it says men, witch, you know what I mean? It's like, here's this idea of women being vilified, and his kind of battle with her was this idea of, you guys have this power, you can't handle this power. And we've heard that before, this idea of women are too emotional, you don't know what to do with this. While the movie actually showed that the girls were kind of disciplined. When something went weird, they were like, we got to stop this, which And I like that they redeemed that character from the first one that ended up going to the insane asylum, because my big issue with the original Craft was the heroine, to me, was not a heroine in that movie. I kind of disliked
Robin Tunney's character?
The lead, I forgot her name. Is that her name?
Yeah, the lead, the main one.
She was the new girl, and they added her as the fourth in the original, right? And then you had the one that kind of went off the grill, and then she shows up in this one. And I just thought, I was like, well, that's fitting, because I really had an issue with the fact that she went into an insane asylum at the end of the first one. Because I was like, okay, maybe she went off the deep end a little bit, but I was like, to the point where this character is just so judgmental of their powers and them taking back what they felt was wronged of them. And I felt like this one just kind of said, no, whether it's dark or light, it's not necessarily vilifying of the women. And I think you also have to take in consideration who this movie was meant for. It wasn't meant for men.
Sure. I don't think it was meant for any of us, to be honest.
Yeah, it was meant for young girls who are looking for some form of empowerment, who feel different, and they want to be showed that their femininity isn't something to look down upon. And I don't think that's necessarily woke culture in that sense. I feel like in some cases that was part of the joke with the spell or the hex they put on the character.
I was generalizing. I
didn't hate it. I felt like I more so had my issues with it, with the structure of it. Like, I thought the third act was way too rushed, and I felt like this probably would have done better as a series on Netflix or something to flesh out the other characters who are actually really interesting. The other three girls.
They just didn't do anything with them. And Lily was the only one developed.
Funny. They had funny dialogue. Frankie was like my fave character. The thing she was just joking about, there's no I in sisterhood, but there totally is an I in. Like, there were just some really funny bits. And I was like, this script isn't completely horrible. This actually, I would have liked to maybe sat with the characters a bit more in like a series kind of vibe, as opposed to trying to fit it all in an hour and 34 minutes,
Yeah. See, I agree with you, but I might flip it around. I feel like it was just like, here's three characters. They're great friends. Trust us. They're great friends. They know each other. We don't have to tell you anything about it. And they're doing their thing.
They became friends over there.
They had discipline, though. They took their witchcraft very seriously, And I don't know. I felt like it didn't like try to stereotype witchcraft with this idea of like, as soon as these women get power, all of them go off the deep end, except the one angelic one, which I felt like the first one did. And this one was like, no, there's some, discipline to witchcraft and stuff. Honestly, I feel like whoever wrote the script probably did their research too, which was, surprising to me to hear what they were. I was like, oh, they actually aren't just coming out of nowhere. With that said, I thought the CGI was a bit cheesy, some of the spells. I thought that was just, it was like sparkle and light. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of Twilight.
That transformation at the end, my God.
Yeah. And I thought the ending scene of the fire and all that, I was like, that was cheap looking. I was like, one minute he's there, the next is engulfed in a circle of flames. And I was like, no, you didn't have to do this. You could have done something else, push him off a cliff or something. I don't know. I thought that would have been better than trying to be, or have the earth, cover them up and like, just something that wasn't as like setting them up to fail with some of the special effects that happened. And I felt like there were times when it felt more like a melodrama than a supernatural, leaning more into the horror elements of witchcraft or of what witch movies can be. I felt like it was more like, this is a melodrama with supernatural elements to it.
Yeah, I never got a horror vibe from this movie, for a second.
Yeah,
I think they tried it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think they tried. There were the scary, dreams, what's going on around the corner, things like that. But I don't think it ever landed because it did lean more on the melodrama. But
there was a scene where the dude was like sleepwalking in her room.
Yeah. And they tried to make her jump, and it turns out and that was just, some stuff came out of nowhere. It was like all of a sudden now the oldest brother sleepwalks. They didn't introduce this at all until the third act to give a jump scare. It was like, where's that coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, I felt like if this had been a series, they would have had time to unpack a little bit more. But with that said, I didn't think it was horrible. You know, I actually liked where they were going a little bit better than I liked the original Craft. Because the original Craft, the way it ended, put a sour taste in my mouth because of the way it ended and who ended up, you know, going to the insane asylum at the end. And I was like, that's not right. But I will say what the original Craft has in spades that this one didn't. It had that 90s grunge to it, you know, that kind of like, we are kind of teenagers and the world is cruel and things like that. And in this one, like the girls were outsiders, but they weren't really that bad of outsiders, you know, they were just different. So it didn't seem so high stakes for them to.
Chauncey, you don't have to tell me how old you are, but around what age were you when you saw the original Craft?
It
came on TV. So, I mean, I don't know. I didn't see it in theaters. I don't think I was old enough to go. What year? What year did it come out?
I want to say it was 94, 95, something like that.
Yeah, mid-90s.
It was like right before Spring.
I wasn't even 10 yet. So I probably saw it like.
All right, so it was too old for you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. That makes a bit of sense. Apparently, there's a problem on the YouTube page. Can you hear us at least? I don't know.
Yeah, I was seeing that it wasn't coming up for me.
Yeah, I kept trying to load it too, and it wasn't going.
All right, so Ryan, you can see us and hear us. Yes, I'm assuming as long as you can hear us and see us, and some people have a bit of a loading issue, you'll be able to watch us later. Just as long as we're able to power through this.
Right. I'm having a bad hair day, guys. You do not want to see me right now. Like, if you just hear us, it's a gift.
It's a spinning wheel on every video.
Not loading for me.
It's
Weird.
YouTube apparently. All right, so let's try to drive through it. Somebody will probably chime in. Y'all may want to delay it or do it another day. No, YouTube itself is fucking up.
It sounds.
I don't
like
know.
That. Yeah,
I don't know if there's an option to.
I'm gonna try it on my phone.
Oh wait, I think it's YouTube. I clicked a couple random YouTube videos and nothing is loading. Folding Ideas video, not loading. H Bomber guy video.
Yeah, none of them are loading for me either.
Yeah, same.
So
right,
YouTube just shot the bed.
All right, so it's still recording. Worst case, we just wasted, an hour talking about Craft again. So Chauncey, how did you feel about the bully character and what they did with him?
I'm not for hexing, period. I think that takes away people's free will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like it would have, but at the same time, it's interesting because he ended up becoming a better person. And it wasn't like so much like they were like, make him nice and make him like a slave. It was more so the exact words was show him his higher self. So it was like when afterwards she's talking to him and stuff, he's saying, well, I used to try to communicate with my mom and stuff like there were things that he already was doing. And there were things that he listened to and suddenly that was kind of unleashed. So it wasn't so much that they like turned him into a slave or a zombie. It was more so, can he become the better version of who he is? So I didn't have so much of a problem with it. They sort of justified it by showing that it wasn't a complete different person, but they did it without his, permission, of course, which was weird. And that didn't make sense. And like, how did they know no one was home? They just rolled up in the house. And how do we know no one's home? Like, how do you know no one's home?
And who the hell leaves a condom around just like that? That's
the physics we should question right now.
It was a little heavy-handed in my estimation, but the thing is, though, that he was kind of in denial about himself because he had hooked up with his friend and so on, and he just, he finally was willing to open up about it, and so. Yeah, I mean, working through that stuff within your adolescence, I mean, I can only imagine. And so, I mean, props to that, even if I feel like it was a little forthright to a degree.
Yeah, no matter how intolerant I sound right now, I don't like the fact that he, his demeanor completely took a left turn. if you want to make him slightly effeminate, if you want to make him the way he was, I believe we said nice guy. The typical Reddit nice guy came up quite a bit between Emily and I. If you wanted to do that with him, he could have still been a bully in the beginning, yet still had that demeanor afterwards. It just seemed like he was a completely different person once they hexed him. And Lindsay, you've been completely quiet. I apologize.
No. My funniest takeaway from this movie is I don't know what I watched on TV years ago that I thought was The Craft, but it was definitely not The Craft. Some random 90s TV movie I caught one day I spent years thinking was The Craft, but no. And I have no idea what it was. This movie, though, if it had been 2 hours long, I think I might have liked it more. Kind of like what Chauncey's saying. Everything just needed like a little, just to cook a little bit longer.
You're fleshing it out.
Yeah. Like, set up David Duchovny like a little earlier in the movie because he like disappears for like 30 minutes.
Yeah. And then he pops back up with one random thing. And then you see that he's mean. And it's
You seemed nice a minute ago.
Yeah.
There's opportunities where it felt like they could have done something, like when the kid was in the backyard. And they had a moment, and he's like, well, yeah, he kind of gets like this from time to time. Like there was a chance there for the two step siblings to build a relationship, and it never really went anywhere. It was just like, oh, you have a nice little heart to heart for movie. There was no other reason.
And that's a door they left wide open and unresolved without getting into stuff about the finale. But
Yeah,
and as someone who didn't see the original Craft, when you end on this scene of "I'm your daughter," and I'm just like, "Oh, I guess that's someone from." Oh, and the movie's just gonna stop. Oh, okay, movie over. All right, like, credits roll.
Cool.
I feel like they're setting it up for some type of sequel or something. To be honest,
probably.
A sequel, or maybe they do want to do a series. Maybe this was a pilot, really.
This is a backdoor pilot. Okay, yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, if enough people like it, we can put it on Netflix or Hulu."
Yeah.
They do have didn't they do a recent deal with one of those platforms?
They've been doing stuff on it's either Prime or Hulu. I forget which one. I think it's Hulu.
Yeah,
because they did Monsterland. Yeah, and they had those those 4 films like The Lie and the ones that they just put out in October. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we suddenly hear you like the Craft Legacy. Now here's the Craft Legacy series,
Well, the director did an interview and she said that she already has, I can't remember if it's a script or just an idea. Like she made this with the intention of doing another one afterwards. Hence the way that they left that kind of cliffhanger with the return of Fairuza Balk's character. So
yeah, the writer director Zoe Lister's ready if they have the money for her. The thing I don't like about the reveal at the end is it's not very Luke Skywalker-y. It's a presto. Here's a person at the very last second for no reason. If you don't know the craft like Lindsay doesn't, she's meaningless. It's just like, oh, cool. It's a woman in a facility that I guess technically is her mom. I mean, I guess that's a strong enough beat, but they don't give us time. They don't give us time to really feel for our lead actress. I like to call her Ellen Page, circa Hard Candy.
She's good, actually. Apparently, she's been in a few things.
Okay.
I think the
whole cast is pretty good, actually.
That is true.
The girls for sure were very good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They sped through it so quickly, like
literally montage through it.
Yeah, like the third act. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not your real mom. And
oh my god, yeah.
It was just like, what?
Try not to date any more warlocks or whatever they say.
What was that?
She's like too soon. That was cute. I don't know.
I mean, if they do make a sequel, I hope she's dating like a nice warlock this time, like in Stranger Things, where you get what's his name in season 2, and he's just like a really lovable goofball, like the warlock version of that.
Oh yeah. Samwise, whatever his name is, Sean Astin, right?
Yeah, Dad Ashton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, he was a little too chubby in that season.
Oh, but he was such a good dad figure. He was so endearing.
You see, one thing I just want to chime in that I know, Chauncey, you said that you didn't really like the way the original film kind of wrapped itself up and stuff with, the one girl kind of taking the fall and stuff. But the thing that I like so much about the original is that it was almost a cautionary tale of messing with powers that you don't really understand and stuff. And that's why when they go to the bookstore, that older woman who runs it is like warning them about getting, not understanding the forces that you're dealing with and stuff. And I didn't really feel like there was any sort of Pandora's box aspect to their powers in this one. And so that was something that, as far as an edge from the previous film, that I kind of missed in this one. So
it's interesting. I'm assuming that's like that 90s edge that everything was like power to the kids, screw adults kind of a thing. I don't know.
Gen Xer, man.
I feel like it did add that danger element of what witchcraft can be if you get too deep into it. And it made the things that they did to their classmates even more brutal, right? Like when what happens with the racist girl who's played by my girl, what's her name? Because she plays Marsha.
Yeah, she is, and she's Ben Stiller's wife, as I found.
And I love her.
Yeah.
In the original Craft, and I love her. And it was like seeing her. She was the racist, cool girl. And what happens? Her hair starts falling out in the movie, and it was creepy. She's like touching, like, what's going on? And that was intense, And you had those elements where that darkness to the craft was more evident. But funny enough, I feel like in this one, the girls were more well-versed. Like they really did their research. They had been reading books. They knew what they were doing. So when things did get crappy, they were like, hey, we got rules. And that's why we got to end this with you, which I think it depends on how you're making it. I feel like the original was maybe made in the idea of don't mess with this, not necessarily condemning all witches, but kind of saying for the most part, leave it alone. And this one was more like there's power in being different. It's okay to have this kind of power. And all of you can have this power, and it doesn't have to be corrupting. It's only corrupting in corrupted hands. And I think that's what David Duchovny's character represented.
I'll take the opposite side, Chauncey. I feel like the original, every one of the characters had their story fleshed out, and you had an understanding of just why it is they were doing the things they were doing, and their power was getting to be a bit too much. So when they split up, it made sense because they were just getting a little too out of control. Whereas in the new one, it's just like you can't use it for dating. We can't talk anymore, and then that was it. And then but that's actually the truth, though. And it depends on which line what kind of witchcraft you adhere to, or how you do your craft. But there are rules depending on the kind where it says you don't do it for personal gain. You do it for, and then I guess they were adhering to that one of you don't do it for personal gain. So of course she was, they saw this as a slippery slope. That's where they were going. But I do agree that it should have been a bit more high stakes. Like maybe she should have done something a bit more high stakes for them to, try that, because her just rubbing herself with his jacket, which is such a weird scene. I was just like, okay, I don't think you need to do that for this. But like she's rubbing herself with his jacket. And it's like, oh, I just randomly, and it didn't even make sense that she did the love spell. And why was she still in the house? He was still in the fucking house, and she's all going.
Yeah, and like,
what was that?
Well, she went in there to do the spell, and it was just kind of like, why don't you just wait till he leaves,
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think the kissing that they did actually happened because he genuinely wanted to kiss her, not because of some half-cooked spell.
Yeah.
Which didn't. That's what I'm saying. Like certain things just came out of nowhere, like that choice she made to do the spell. But I like that it was kind of the reversal, that instead of the other girls getting out of hand, it was the main girl that was getting out of hand, even though technically what she did wasn't. It was kind of like, okay, that's it. That's what he did. But I guess it's because he ended up dead. That was like, oh my gosh, you probably. But then it was like, how does a love spell make him kill himself? You know what I mean? Like,
he got killed.
But he got killed. That's what I mean.
Right.
That's what I mean. Like the way some of the characters were coming to conclusions, it was like, but that wouldn't make sense anyway if you really stop and think about it. Like, why would he kill himself? He seemed, like he was finally free, like he explained to her. So
he had a TBD with a cute girl. Come on, you don't off yourself then. Like, I'm sorry.
To be determined.
Oh, I meant TBC. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I said TBC.
What is TBC?
To be continued.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't a perfect movie, but I think it's funny. It's like I feel like it has some strengths that the original lacked, and the original has some strengths that this one lacked, like the danger and the darkness and a little bit more of the higher stakes. While this one, I think, and fleshing out those characters and their problems for sure, because you know, Nev Campbell's character had burns and all this other stuff, and there were things that were really traumatic stuff they had gone through. One of the characters had gone through racism regularly at her school.
I kind of wish they did that again.
I'm kind of glad they didn't. I was
really?
fine that no one was throwing the N-word at the one.
Well, all right. So maybe not that, but one of the girls was trans.
Yes.
It was the tallest girl, right? She's
I liked her. She was sassy and fun. Like I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, it adds to dramatics. I would say. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little fucked in the head where I want a bit more stakes when it comes to.
But I guess I think that means what goes back to what I was saying, like who it's for. Like, you know, like as someone who, like, if you're doing for girls who are, you know, wanting to empower them and stuff, you might not care to show them being like bullied, detailed. You might want to focus more on the empowerment aspect of it, while others, you know, might be like, well, I need to be convinced that their life is screwed up. But that's not, it's not for those people who are watching it for that.
That's fair.
It's for the people who already experienced maybe what some of these girls experience.
No, I can completely concede that this movie is not for.
As we said last week,
Yeah.
A question about the original. Did it open with a similar scene as this one, where it just kind of is like, and there's magic when we're just going to deal with it?
Not at all.
That was a long thing. Like they were trying to, like the light as a feather, stiff as a board. Like that was a thing that they struggled through. That they, like it was a bit more of a, I don't know. They spent more time with, you know, bonding and learning the.
Well, if this one had an extra 20 minutes, they probably could have squeezed that in. But I did like how this one just opened with, you know, it was a little clumsy. And, you know, hey, again, if it had more time, you know, maybe the scene could have flowed a little bit better. But I did kind of, I appreciated the way it just kind of like, we're not even going to pretend like magic isn't in this movie. You know what this movie's about. Magic's a thing. And we're off. Like, I respected that. But I don't know. But maybe you couldn't do that in the first one. Maybe you got to get people in a little bit more.
I think the runtime on both is right around 100 minutes.
Oh, shit. Well, never mind.
Okay, 90 minutes versus 104. So maybe an extra 15 minutes could have significantly, I mean, even a couple scenes of like the home life of some of the other girls and stuff like that would have just given a lot more depth in that regard.
Oh, actually, one thing I noticed, this movie's actually shorter than it appears, because there was about 10-ish minutes left for me when the credits started rolling. So I don't know.
10 minutes of credits.
I've actually noticed that more and more.
Who the hell worked on this? All those CGI effects. They had dozens upon dozens of hundreds of people working on that.
Is that a thing though, Fuego? Is there significantly longer credits these days than there used to be?
I have most definitely noticed it. I mean, whereas I watch like a small indie movie and you've got maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and then you watch a big budget spectacular whatever, and you can have 7 to 10 minutes of credits at the end of a film, which is crazy. So
interesting.
Fuego, you're the only one of us who actually watched the two with some sort of, you know, within the same month window, I would say.
Oh no, within the same week. Yeah, I watched them like back to back to each other, which is probably why I was a little bit more judgmental, I think, of the new one, because you know, if there had been like a massive length of time between, or if I hadn't rewatched the original since I was younger. But I mean, the burden of comparison in that regard, I think. So, because I'm not like a big fan of the original either. It was not one that I held like in like dearest regard and stuff. And I was like, Craft was okay. I had a lot of friends that loved it, but it was more of a ho-hum for me. So
yeah, I was in school when that came out, and it was just like every girl. It was suddenly every girl was buying candles and into Ouija boards.
I dated a girl who was just insanely into this movie for a number of years.
Yeah.
Well, she knew the Craft legacy was coming. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I don't talk to her anymore, but nonetheless.
Yeah. I'm gonna buy a dream catcher, and I'm totally a witch now, guys. Totally.
Get that tarot deck, and yeah.
Oh, tarot deck. Yeah, I don't think my friends were that smart.
Yeah, guys, like every guy has had a witch at one point in his life. You know, we all go through that phase. It's totally normal.
No, I had a lot. I had a lot that I hung out with. Actually, yeah, no, I've had my cards read a couple of times. All right.
I was engaged to this one, so it was a little bit deeper as far as that goes.
Oh, all right.
Anyway.
So
my mom practiced Wicca. That's what I grew up with. I used to go to the candle shop and stuff with her, and she has tarot cards and stuff. So I've been like raised under. It was Wicca Baptist. It was like that mixture of Baptist, God fearing and stuff like that, but also candles and money candles for money candles and things like that. So
you have to explain it to me. What is with the candles? Why are candles that big a deal?
They're sexy, bro. It's easy.
It depends. I mean, it's just a lot of time. It depends on the kind of. See, the thing is, it's not a monolith. You know, there are people who are Wiccan, but they're not witch. They don't do witchcraft, and then there are people who do witchcraft and they're not Wiccan, right? They don't adhere to, because Wiccan in a way is somewhat of not a religion necessarily, but it is sort of like a set of beliefs and things. And then there are people who don't adhere to that. There are people who use deities in their stuff and people who don't believe in deities. There's atheist witches, you know? So I guess it depends. I think with the candles, I think it's more so what you are drawn to of the elements. Some people, they just feel like when they do candles that it helps them channel their energy better. Some people aren't necessarily, don't lean as much with candles. You have like people who are more into herbs and stuff and things. And
is there like you'll excuse my lack of terminology. Is there like some sort of like blessing or something that happens in the actual, like, are the candles somehow treated?
Yeah, some people do. Okay. You can put some oils on them, depending on what kind of oil it is. You anoint it and stuff like that before you use it, so that, or you might. And sometimes you don't have to put an oil. Sometimes you just need to sit with the candle for a little bit and just kind of, put your intentions on it, depending on, just to throw off anybody else's hands that it may have come in. I remember growing up and my mom, my brother, who's 10 years older than me, but he would get so annoyed when he'd wake up in the middle of the night and my mom was over his bed, like, putting oils, like flicking oil and stuff at him. And he'd wake up and he was like, I told you about doing that while I was asleep. He's like, I am asleep. Don't be coming here putting oils on me while I'm sleeping. She's like, I'm just trying to protect you. So I'm definitely, there'd be times I would go in the candle shop. We'd go down in the basement of the candle shop and I would have to sit on the bench while they went in the back with the the person who, did that stuff and things. And it was so funny because at the very end was this weird Jesus statue that was like in the corner. And I just in there as a little kid swinging my feet, looking at the edge, and like there'd be a Jesus statue like staring at me, but also these candles around. And I'd just be like, okay, this is my life. This is my childhood.
So fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating.
It is. There's a lot that I have no knowledge of that when I hear about it, I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, well, so much for being an ignorant, stereotypical moron. Now I got nothing to say.
I think they're stereotypes, and I guess that's why I didn't dislike this one as much, because I feel like at times, I mean, it was very base stuff they were doing, but it was like they didn't vilify it, they actually kind of think about it in a more level-headed way. And I think maybe that's what turned some people off too, because I don't know, I think there's a lot of witch type, like it's a subgenre, just like zombies and things like that. And I think there's this subgenre that usually makes the witch the evil person and stuff. And, uses a lot of kind of everything and all the dark parts of it. And I think people are used to that, whether they believe it or not. But a lot of time it does play into that thing. And I mean, maybe that's what people were hoping for too. And when you don't get that, when you don't get one of them going off the rails, it's kind of feels disappointing. But I was like, well, for once there's an outside entity. Yes, it was this weird kind of, we're the kings and stuff. I feel like David Duchovny probably had a lot of fun with this.
Oh, yeah.
Could somebody get him a comb, though? What was with his hair?
I'm really glad they didn't do something cheesy like have him say, like, look, if you want to figure out what's really going on, the truth is out there or something like that.
I would have chuckled if he'd done that.
So we've got some news, and some of it's kind of interesting.
There's a lot that happened in the last week, I feel like.
There's a decent amount. One thing I did want to say is I saw the #1 movie at the box office, guys, and I have a review that's sitting on my channel. The Let Him Go. I got a virtual screener for it a couple days before it came out from. I want to say it was Focus Features or Lionsgate. I forget which one, but it was pretty damn good, man. Kevin Costner, Diane Lane. I'm trying to remember the name of the woman who plays the villain, but she was. It's something Manville with the Leslie Manville. She basically is this matriarch of this family. So long story short, it's kind of like a neo-Western period piece that takes place in the 50s. Kevin Costner and Diane Lane's son is married, has a child. He falls off his horse and dies. And then their daughter-in-law remarries, and she remarries an abusive man who basically takes her and the child and basically goes into exodus to his family's like ranch in North Dakota. And Diane Lane and Kevin Costner go to investigate what's going on. And it's pretty tense at times when they confront this family and the villainous woman who's like the grandmother essentially of this guy who their former daughter-in-law married. She's nuts, and there are some very, very tense scenes. And I don't know, it was very well acted. I think it would deserve some awards consideration in some cases. And
that's what I thought that when I saw the trailer. I was like, that looks a little baity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was good. I was very impressed with it, and it's kind of a shame that theaters aren't in better shape for more people to go see it. I think so, because it was very well acted, and it had some solid scenes where I was just kind of on the edge of my seat, man. And it does own its R rating in some of the violence in it.
Yeah, it's about time we need some R rating.
Yeah.
So
you just want to see people suffer. Clearly.
Yeah, listen,
I want to see some bullying.
Yeah,
I want these little girls bullied.
There's something wrong with it's only stupid French extremist movies I'm watching that I'm like, that wouldn't really happen. He'd chop off her leg.
They're like, let's get more martyrs and high tension and these like really violent French.
It's ruining me. I can't watch movies where it's just happy. The babysitter sequel, I was like, this is too fun. I don't like this. So news: Johnny Depp has been replaced by Mads Mikkelsen for Fantastic Beasts whenever they want to make that next one.
They say July 2022 now is what they're aiming for.
Which is like the week after Captain Marvel 2 or something like that, or some other big movie. Like it's a weird date to choose. That's because it's so close to. I'll look it up right now, but it's very close to another very big movie.
The calendar doesn't make sense anymore. Like
that's true. Actually, why look it up? It'll just
I was going to say, nor will it either.
Yeah, it officially is broken. Thoughts? Wait, Lindsay, you're the big Fantastic Beasts guy.
I'm just still amazed that they're even trying to make this. Maybe they've just spent so much money on it at this point in pre-production and stuff like that. And apparently Johnny Depp did shoot one scene, so he's getting his full $10 million for appearing in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah, because he had a pay-to-play deal or whatever. So yeah, even if he's not in the extent of he still gets all his money. Just crazy.
Well,
got all those legal bills, so.
That's what happens when we got the good lawyers, man. You just show up for one day and you make all the money.
I need editing work like that. Like, okay, all right, here's the title screen, and I'm done.
Well, I mean, he has all those court bills to pay, right? So
Well, does he though? I mean, if
he lost that defamation case, didn't he?
He lost that one, but I know there's still ongoing. There's other ongoing stuff with her.
I think there's one here stateside in addition to the court, the European one. So I think the European one's done, but I think he's still doing the one here.
Yeah, the one where he's up against Amber Heard. I think she's gonna lose that one because she's not looking too good as far as
they're both nuts.
Yeah,
they both look bad right now.
Yeah, it clearly wasn't the greatest relationship, and they both stayed. I mean, Johnny Depp's. I mean, I guess kind of felt. It's kind of sad a little bit just seeing like what ended up happening, like him being dependent on drugs and things like that, or alcohol, whatever it was.
There's that clip where he like throws a fucking glass alcohol bottle in. I don't care who's abusing who. That shit's scary. Like,
Yeah.
like she has her phone set up, and I don't care if she was riling him up. He throws a bottle across the kitchen, and it's like,
That's some serious cleanup, man.
yeah, it's hard to defend that shit, dude. How about you just bang your fist or something? Shit. Yeah, it's all messy. It's all I hope for all their sake that they talk to some people, rehab. Everybody comes back around after a little bit. I mean, shit, Mel Gibson's working right now, so
right.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Batman comes out on Friday, and I'm probably gonna go see it. So,
yeah, just
Batman.
So talk to some professionals and
yeah, seriously, Johnny, just like wait 8 years, then make Fantastic Beasts 3. Just give it a little time to breathe. Like, we don't need this
might
right
be the
now.
right timing, actually.
Does it do well in theaters? I've never watched them.
They've been the Fantastic
First
Beasts
one did
1. It did pretty good, but it did do less than the Harry Potter movies did, and then the second one did even less. So there is a certain amount of diminishing, falling off that we're seeing here, and that's part of the
more
reason.
Adults, right? Maybe that's the thing. It doesn't translate as well.
Well, it's definitely harder to justify it as kids stuff, considering they're talking about the good guys trying to let the Holocaust happen and the bad guys are trying to stop the Holocaust. Like, that's literally what the plot of these movies going forward is going to be.
Oh.
Because like Johnny Depp could see the future, and he's trying to stop the evil, non-magical Muggles from committing genocide and World War II on each other, but the good wizards are trying to stop him from stopping that because he's bad.
I don't want to see that, despite
exactly
whatever Chauncey's thinking. I don't want to see a movie like that.
see if they were.
Wait a minute, he wants to stop the Holocaust, but they don't want him to stop the Holocaust because they feel like it might mess up the balance or something.
It's like set in like the 1930s, so like all that stuff hasn't gone down yet, and Johnny Depp can like see the future. He's got like a skull bong that he takes the hit from, and then he's like, "Here's the future, guys!" And he knows about World War II. He knows about the nukes. He knows about the Holocaust, so he wants to stop all that from happening, but the good guys are going to try and stop him from stopping that. That's
so are they the good guys?
Yeah, that's some twisted shit right there.
I mean, it's time
like someone
travel.
saying, "I want to go kill Hitler," and I'm like, "You can't do that."
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, I can't kill Hitler.
I mean, it's a weird thing to be trying to do. Like, I get the idea of it. Don't mess with time, let things happen. But at the same time, it's like you're going to do that for 3 movies.
Yeah, like that can't be the motivation for 3 whole movies. I mean, I hope someone's having an existential crisis within the ranks, and like, well, maybe we should let them do it. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a nice idea. It's like it's a nice seed, but you should see just how chaotic and terrible that idea is. Like Butterfly Effect, I think. Listen, it's not the greatest movie in the world.
I love it.
It's fine,
it's a popcorn movie. It's
and it's 16 different endings.
Yeah,
man, the one with him in the womb where he strangles himself with the umbilical cord. You're like, shit.
That's exactly it. Like, show me just what are the different. What could possibly happen if you're gonna fuck with the past like that? So,
Warner was.
Go.
Oh, I was just going to say, if Warner was smart, they would just do this as this, or just scrap it entirely and do something on HBO Max as a series and just leave it at that. Do like a new classic kids at Hogwarts or something. I mean, this just forging forward with this 5-film idea is just bonkers to me. So.
5.
And it's like, well, it's funny. The whole setup of this is. Like we met Dumbledore in the last one, and it's young Dumbledore, and he's sexy young Dumbledore, but this is about supposed to be about this next one's supposed to be about him and Johnny Depp and their budding romance when they were kids and how they fell out from each other and how it's going to build to them eventually being mortal enemies who fight in the 5th movie or something, because I don't know, it's a prequel. We kind of already know how this all plays out, but it looks like this next one's going to be all about exploring all that, because there's like this blood curse that keeps the two, like Dumbledore and Johnny Depp, from directly fighting each other. so they're going to try and break that. And if that
This sounds
like
really complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
They're
like,
I'm trying to streamline. I'm not trying to over.
I know, but
It's
even
that-
when you streamline, it still sounds complicated.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
like,
that-
who's the audience for this?
Yeah.
I need a pacifier, maybe a sandwich, and then a 10-minute nap.
It's that fine line between complicated and convoluted, and you're like,
Yes.
how do you kind of?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, that's a lot you're throwing in there.
That's where Jupiter Ascending fucked up.
Yeah,
They're like,
over-
here, stuff, just stuff,
Yeah.
stuff.
But I would never, I don't say a lot of that stuff about like the Harry Potter, anything connected to Harry Potter, anything connected to like Star Wars. I try to keep those because that seems to be the most controversial thing to have opinions on. Like, I mean, I fell out of Harry Potter like by the second movie or whatever, but that's because she killed off one of my favorite characters in one of the books. So I was like, and then I couldn't stand Ron. And I just wanted him to die so much. It's just like, I can't stand this character. Why is he getting the girl? And then I kind of pulled back out of the conversation in Star Wars because I don't like Rey. So I just was like, I don't want to be thrown into that category. I was like, she's a Mary Sue, but can't say that.
Yeah.
Can't
Very
say that
cool.
out loud.
I do love how the entire internet exploded over the debate of whether she is, whether she isn't. I'm not getting into that, but I just love how the
She
internet
wasn't her
melted
first
down.
movie. When
Yes.
she first came out, she was Mary Sue.
I do agree with that. I also don't. I mean, I'm kind of in the camp that Mary Sue isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's like just a factor about someone. But I don't know. I am also. She's not my favorite character.
Can I also? Okay, so this is okay. So it's not necessarily like I don't know if it's nerd or just weird national pride too. I always felt like, and I may ask for you to cut this part out since this is me recording. I've always felt weird about the fact, to me, I always thought that the story of Star Wars with Darth Vader's empire and stuff like that, or not his empire, but who he ended up working for, that it was a reflection of the British and the United States throwing off Britain, and that it was about this idea of independence, like taking it in an intergalactic kind of way. At least the first three, just because everyone who was on the evil side was British. So I was just like, oh, this must be representation of the monarchy versus America. That's what I thought. Okay. I'm just saying from my childhood, right? So, like when I watched it.
It was shot in London. So
I know. It doesn't matter. A lot of these American ones are shot in Vancouver, but
Right.
Like, that's Canada. It don't matter.
I was about to say,
like,
even
the
the Costume movie I just watched, they're like, it's supposed to be North Dakota. They're up in Calgary. So,
exactly. You go where it's cheaper to film. That has no bearing on what the story represents. So I can say, although I stand by the fact that in her first movie she was Mary Sue, I will honestly say it really rubbed me wrong that the new heroine was British sounding. And I really had a problem with that. I was like, she's supposed to be. I was like, no, that's not how this story is supposed to go. You couldn't get, couldn't she sound country or something? You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, she can't be British. That's just throwing me off. Like, they're supposed to be not that because of what they represent. But I also know that's just the way it formulated in my brain. I had an issue with her being the central. I wouldn't have minded for her to be there, but being the central character and being British, I was just like, that doesn't work.
What's weird is
Go ahead, Stevie.
the weird thing is John Boyega is British, but
That doesn't matter. That's fine because he's black.
But he's
And so because of that,
American accent.
he can do it. Exactly. Because he had an American accent and now he's African American. So it's fine. In fact, that makes complete sense why that
But
would be
it's
the next kind of character. And then they totally sidelined him for the rest of the things. And that was whack.
Yeah, Kim.
They sidelined him for the British
and
girl.
Oscar Isaac.
What part of America is
Agreed, Fuego.
Japu? For real.
Because of Florida.
Florida.
But I said that was just my crazy workings of why it rubbed me wrong, because the way I always thought this was a intergalactic version of the monarchy versus independence of the United States. So it threw me off.
It does kind of work for her to be British because she is a Palpatine in the end. So she's choosing not to be, but
yes, this works.
Yeah,
but she still shouldn't have been the main character. That should have been John Boyega.
I agree with you there.
And they set up in Force Awakens, they set him up to be as important as her with that battle at the end. And there's a lot of people that like The Last Jedi, but he was the one who sent him off on some stupid mission to a casino as opposed to having him be a crucial part of the story. So I don't know.
With all the marketing leading up to Force Awakens, they played the shell game on us with that shit. That was really kind of funky.
Yeah.
Although I have a soft spot in my heart for brunettes who are British.
Yes. I love them too. Why. My friends are that. No.
I married one, so
yeah. And yet,
I'm just saying in the Star Wars thing, I got nothing against anybody who's British. Oh my God, I got friends who are British.
That's exactly what they would say.
Exactly.
I just totally wonder.
I just feel weird if I give it because it does sound like nationalist or something. If I have this viewpoint, and I don't mean to sound that way.
Oh God, Nazi's coming out as Chauncey's coming out as a Nazi right now. Like,
I have an identity crisis.
Best of luck traveling to Europe, Chauncey.
Exactly.
I'll start live editing this so the audience can't see it. Don't worry.
Well, apparently nobody can see it anyway, so I think we're in shape.
I was wondering if they could even still hear or not because the link is still live from what I see.
Right.
Yeah, it's some people can, some people can't. So I don't know.
All kinds of screwy. YouTube's eating its own butt.
Oh, weird. Yeah.
Another piece of news that was fairly. This was in the last couple of days. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is producing a Scorpion King reboot. Yeah. He's not starring in it.
He might appear, but they're speculating cameo or a very small role sort of situation.
He can't, if he's going to do a Scorpion King remake, he can't, if he's in it, people are going to be like, oh, now we're reminded of what we could / should have right now.
Well, the IP is still out there. They've done 2 or 3 direct-to-video sequels to that. I
is there more than 2? I remember there was 2.
I know there was a 2 and a 3. I feel like I should look real quick.
No.
Because I saw it the red box a year or 2 ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was an okay movie. The CGI in The Mummy 2 was the worst.
Yeah.
Was it just the CGI? But there's that shot where the mummy. What I can't think of his name, but the actor, the Scorpion King gets stabbed, and it's beat, and then the mummy runs in. No, 3 seconds too late or something.
Damn. So there was the second one in 2008, 3 Battle for Redemption in 2012, 4 Quest for Power in 2015, Book of Souls in 2018.
No more. 4, 5.
There's been 5 of them in total.
And they're going to reboot it.
Oh, that's amazing.
After the previous one only came out October 2018, so it's hot on the heels, man.
It might as well just call it Amityville, Scorpion King Amityville.
Oh, well, I unfortunately saw that new Amityville that I saw Chauncey review, the Amityville Harvest.
Yes.
Wait, I'm kidding. Is there really a new Amityville?
Yeah, there's the Amityville Harvest.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, after one was so bad they had to just give it to everyone on Google Play for free, they went and made another one. Okay.
Yes. It came out through Lionsgate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in public domain, so anybody can make an Amityville movie at this point. So because
what are you guys doing this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
But it is actually listed on the Wikipedia page as an official sequel to it. It's official in the franchise. It's recognized.
I think it's the most sequelized of any franchise ever. There's 15, 20 Amityville movies at this point.
Well, I don't know about official ones. I know the official ones of Amityville, there's 7. There's 6 or 7 that are listed as official ones. I don't know how many offshoots that aren't listed though.
There's 10 Puppet Masters. There's 9, 10 Hellraisers.
Oh, there's 13 Puppet Masters. I'm all about that series. It hasn't been good since 5, but
If you're telling me that Amityville is public domain, I'll go fucking make an Amityville movie.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's 10 minutes down the road. I'll go to the fucking house.
Well, it's based on a real story, right? So when in that, I mean, it's your listen, it could have happened. Those people did die previously.
Yeah, there was murder in the house.
It's a publicly known thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, there was 5 murders that took place in that house, but all the Amityville shit is about the month afterwards that the people that moved in after the murders were like, it's scary in here.
Well, wait, no. I saw the one with Ryan Reynolds, guys. I saw the one with Ryan Reynolds. He did it. So a girl got a finger in her head.
Right.
Like it was weird. There was a dog and something about a boathouse. Like, no, that movie is accurate.
I think the girl in Seventh Heaven was in it. Jessica Biel was in it, maybe?
No, she can't.
You're wrong.
That'd be hilarious.
No, Jessica Biel was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She wasn't. I don't think she was in that remake.
Yes, no, you're right. Chances right. By the way, there are 26 Amityville movies, according to Wikipedia, not counting The Conjuring, which have both had Amity stuff in them. So that's 28 if you count The Conjuring movies.
Oh,
damn.
Yeah, I want to make an Amityville movie and just have it be about the DeFeo murders. And then people be like, where's the haunting shit? And just like, fuck you. It's just about murders, you assholes. There's the Lutzes and there's the DeFeos. That's what Amityville is.
The Lutzes were the original. The DeFeo were the ones that moved in afterwards, right?
No, Swip it. Swipe.
Swammy.
Sweemy, Swanson.
Okay.
Samsonite. I was way off.
I watched the original movie recently. I actually really liked it. The original one with she was really, I forgot her name. She played in Superman, and I really do like her as an actress.
Margot Kidder. Yeah. And it had Brolin, right? So,
James Brolin, yeah.
He was,
Babs' husband at the time. Barbara Streisand's husband.
I was like,
rocking that beard, which was like super like in vogue, sexy at the time. All those women. That's why you had Burt Reynolds on the bear rug with the beard and all that shit. Hairy chest.
It worked. And because he had the plaid shirt on and stuff like that, and he's like cutting wood in the movie and stuff. I was like, this set up an atmosphere. And even though everything wasn't as overt in that one, because I feel like the sequel, that was actually a prequel, right? Because it was talking about the family before. I saw the trailer for that. I was like, this just seems over the top, like everything that's happening there. But I kind of like the fact that it was so subtle in the original, where it's like there's something not right here. There's something very uneasy.
Yeah, you know? Which was more the vibe of 70s horror, right? I mean, even back to like Rosemary's Baby in the late 60s, like that was the motif. It wasn't about shock and awe and grotesque gruesomeness. It was more about just like setting a mood kind of thing. With 70s
that was
horror.
Considered a big deal back then. The Get Out. That was a big
I feel like even now less is more. I'm not a big fan of body gore and all that stuff anyway, but I feel like when you can create the atmosphere where it's more so in my mind of just how bad it is, I think sometimes that's way better than sometimes they reveal it to you and, you know, anything can go wrong. They did the effect wrong. It's bad CGI, you know.
Jaws. They fucked up and they still managed to get you going.
Yeah. My favorite example is Seven. We don't see what happened to that poor woman. We just see what that's all we need.
My favorite.
Wait, which woman? What are you talking about though?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah, we never see her head.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Yeah.
Which actually,
I was like, man, I wasn't expecting them to kill her.
That scene is quite possibly one of the most perfect scenes because the music, the build up to that scene, everything about that scene is so great. It's just
Fincher, man, freaking Fincher
losing his shit, and Kevin Spacey.
Kenneth Spacey.
And also Malkovich being there too, right? Because that's where you found out that it was him and all that. And
Malkovich.
No, you're thinking of Kevin Spacey.
Spacey, Derps. Sorry, getting confused.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah,
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan
Freeman. Yeah, it's Morgan Freeman. Yeah. And Morgan Freeman's got that last line where he's just like gives up hope on humanity or something like that. Like,
no, because you're like, well, they could make this nice where he doesn't kill him and he keeps. I'm like, nah, you gonna shoot this guy?
Yeah,
like, you gotta shoot this guy. That's what you do. So I was appreciative of that.
The line is something along the lines of, "The world is a great place and worth fighting for," and Morgan Freeman says, "I believe what that's. I agree with that second part."
Yeah, I just pulled it up. Ernest Hemingway once wrote, "The world is a fine place and worth fighting for." I agree with the second part.
Yeah.
When Kevin Spacey says, "I just told you," you're like, "Oh, he did kill her." Oh man.
What's his line, like "Be my wrath" or whatever, right before?
Yeah, because he was the last one. He was last one of the set. I was like, wow, that one, and that's one of my favorite. And the other one, what was the one with Denzel Washington where
Fallen, where the demon was passing itself?
Yes, that's what, and it's like, everyone gives it the pill for making such a sweet song creepy, but that was in it, where that was one of the sweetest songs. But every time I hear it, I think of a demon jumping into different characters.
I have always loved when films do that, though, where they take this, kind of like love song or whatever, old timey,
make it real creepy.
Which is now the flavor of the day. In any sort of trailer, you slow down a popular song and make it like spacey and
choppy,
creepy.
But they just kept it regular, and it was still creepy.
Piano note at the beginning, just ding. Wait, who is the villain in that? Was that Walt Goggins? Who was the bad guy in?
It was the guy that looked like Robert De Niro, but he wasn't Robert De Niro. You know what I'm talking about?
Emily,
looking it up right now.
Who's the bad guy?
Was it Donald Sutherland? Maybe?
John Goodman. Oh no!
Because it passed from person to person, right?
Yeah, but the original guy that was put on death row.
Oh, the first guy possesses.
Yeah.
Damn. It's the guy from Sopranos, right? Isn't it Gandolfini?
James Gandolfini?
Maybe I'm gonna have to
Ilias
look.
Croteris. Ilias Cotes. Elias Cotes. The guy from Sopranos is in it, but the original killer was this guy, who always reminds me of Robert De Niro. But Donald Sutherland was in it too.
Yeah, that was a damn good movie.
Oh, right. He's in Shutter Island 2. That guy.
Shutter Island 2, they made a sequel to that? What?
Yeah, still there.
It's still there.
But that's a great movie. 7. It's all that kind of like less is more. It's weird. Like nothing's coming out of anybody's face. Just like each person just kind of is possessed and doing weird stuff.
I'm telling you, Silence of the Lambs came out, and America said, "Oh, we can watch fucked up movies without it actually being a horror movie. We're okay." And then the rest of the 90s said, "Hold my beer." And and then all
I mean, even when they got to Hannibal, they went for the gore, with feeding the brains and all that. And they
regular Yoda.
Yeah, they went more for the gore. One thing I was going to mention, guys, is that it was just announced by the French magazine Premiere this past week, because Fincher has that new movie coming to Netflix, that he has signed a 4-year exclusive deal with Netflix. So pretty much all of his films, he's pulling almost a Adam Sandler, where his next few projects are going to be exclusive to Netflix, nothing theatrical.
Except quite different, I would imagine. Quite different than Adam Sandler.
Well, as in quality, presumably, right?
Didn't he directed the pilot for one of those
the Manhunter, was it? Mindhunter,
yeah. While we're on the topic of horror, the brilliant Wrong Turn is getting a reboot from Saban Films. The people who made
Saban.
Saban.
Power Rangers.
Yeah.
They branched out over the years into doing lots of other sorts of genre work.
Pronounce it? Is it Saban? Saban?
I'm pretty sure it's Saban.
Oh, okay.
Good for them for branching out,
I guess.
I really hope the killer is like a guy in like a giant mech suit that's like obviously just like cardboard.
Wrong
Turn. It needs freshening up, I guess.
Wait, are they
I don't know why they would reboot it.
sequels?
Yeah, they made like what 5 or 6 sequels, right? So
Like
they need to
7.
reboot it.
Yeah.
Isn't there like 7 of them?
There's a lot, and the
Yeah,
first one's okay.
that
Like
was the one with Elijah Dushku. Yeah.
I love me some Dushku.
that is not a strong series whatsoever. I have a nice little place in my heart for the first one, but
Second one that Joe Lynch did, where the cut in half at the beginning is pretty brutal. But I mean, it's just not my cup of tea. The whole mutant TikTok, murderous mofo's. I'm not so into that.
yeah, I'll watch Deliverance. I'm all set. That's all I need from.
Is one of the Wrong Turn sequels called U-Turn? Because if not, the entire franchise is a lie.
No, that is.
That's a great Oliver Stone, man.
Oh.
U-Turn, right? Yeah.
George Clooney, Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez. It's where he's in Arizona, if I remember correctly. In that movie.
Name drop in his city.
Yeah,
CD?
which suddenly went blue, which drove surprised the hell out of everybody here.
We're not doing politics. No politics.
It was just funny though. Just one thing. I went to have lunch with my parents on Sunday, and I was positive it had been the topic of discussion for months leading up to everything that went down in the last week or so. They were like church mice. We talked sports and movies, not a single mention of anything. So I thought that was very telling without getting into it. So
Count those votes.
yeah.
Mhm.
And they're still and they're still counting here too, which is just insane to me. But
It's over.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders, are they still counting, or are they like doing what I would do before, where corporate would show up, and so I would just move plates around to make it look like I'm doing. Are they just just sliding votes around their desk, just making it look like they're still counting, so they can still get a paycheck?
Yeah, and it's all these temps who are like, oh shit, can we squeeze this out for another few days so I don't have to go.
I can't read this one too well. I'll put it to the side for a minute.
Oh well, there was all the Sharpie controversy about using Sharpies when I went to the polling booth. They gave us all Sharpies, and
We're getting closer to.
That was like a right-wing talking point, that one, because they were trying to say, "Oh, that's how," but it wasn't actually true.
Yeah. So,
anyway,
what do we guys have coming up for the week as far as film is concerned? Anything?
Well, I watched Tremors: A Cold Day in Hell, and it was kind of fun. I didn't love it, but it was kind of fun. And I started watching Tremors: Shrieker Island, and 20 minutes in, I realized I wasn't paying attention to anything, so I turned it off. So I might try and watch Tremors: Shrieker Island again. But
Lindsay, did you watch any of that YouTube video I suggested you?
Oh, the Cody Shoddy one?
Yeah, the dystopian pop.
Dystopian. Yeah.
The 2-hour-long episode of Some More News. Yeah, that was fun.
Did you watch? You watched the whole thing?
I watched the whole goddamn thing. Yeah, that was a good time.
Did you write the Tomorrowland bit? Because I swear you had to have written that.
I did not, and honestly, as much as I loved it, he didn't go hard enough on the movie. He really dropped the ball, because Tomorrowland ends with, the future's not for everyone; it's for the people that are special. Like, how do you not bring that up in that kind of a thing? Like, anyway, but I thoroughly loved the hell out of it, and I love that the last movie he talked about was Tomorrowland. That
I'm
did put
glad.
a smile on my face.
Yeah, it was a running gag. And every time you brought it up, I'm like, "Where the fuck is Lindsay?" Like you were in my head throughout watching that.
Well, I like to imagine I'm always in your head, but what can I say?
Oh, that's sweet. Chauncey, what about you? You gonna take a break from a non-conceding leader anytime soon?
Well, I have the Amityville Harvest review went up yesterday. I'm gonna do a review. Yeah, that's there now. Whenever YouTube comes back, if it comes back, I know so many people are probably freaking out right now, wondering what's happening.
What am I gonna do?
This is my whole job income. What's going on? And hopefully tomorrow I'll have up my review of His House. I'm going to film that tonight. My review of His House, the Netflix horror film that deals with the Sudanese refugees who come to the U.S. and get into a house that there's something going on in there, some haunted house folklore going on, which I really enjoyed. and it's very powerful. So I'm gonna hopefully get a review up of that, and I may just do a video on the craft legacy. So I might just end up doing that too. So have that coming up. Yeah, might be review. Well, it's not movies, but I'm gonna be looking at the new Animaniacs.
I'm stoked for that, and they're going to do Tiny Toon Adventures as well. I heard, so it's just like, is my childhood coming back to me?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
I should have mentioned I am still I'm working on my Dinesh video still. It's the longest thing I've made in about 4 years.
Damn.
I haven't made a video over 10 minutes since 2017, and this one looks like it's going to be like 15-16 minute range.
Good
right
for
now.
you.
So,
Hell yeah, man.
I'm cutting loose.
Eagerly anticipate, especially if it's a Dinesh D'Souza. You're putting more effort than he would. I'll tell you that.
And I this is how much effort I put into. I've rewatched most of Birth of a Nation, and I know, yeah, but and 2 of his movies. So that's why it's taking so long. I'm just putting in extra research, but I can't wait to get that done. But Fuego, by all means, take it.
Can you ask family members to take all of the knives out of your house, please?
We'll see.
Fuego.
Yeah, it's going to be a very busy next week and a half for me, because it's so strange that they're closing back down theaters in San Diego and San Francisco, and I saw the New York governor is like, no bars, restaurants, all that shit has to close by 10 p.m. because starting Friday, Cecil and I for the next little over a week are going to be at the Phoenix Film Festival, which compared to so many things that I have covered virtually in the last 7 months or so, they're doing it in person, 25% capacity, none of the big festivities or anything, but they're doing it, and I'm gonna be there for I think about a dozen films or so. So that's
what's the big draw? What's their big mantelpiece film?
We're covering primarily horror and sci-fi, obviously. So and the weird thing is, a lot of these films that were originally slated to go on back in April when the festival first goes, now that it's November, a lot of them have already hit home release, like Blood Quantum, which is a zombie movie on Shudder, La Llorona, which is getting Best Foreign Feature Oscar consideration. That's already been on home release for a while. So a lot of these things that I was very stoked to see ahead of time back in April, now it'll be cool to see some stuff on the big screen and, just kind of solidify some of my contacts and stuff like that. But lots of documentaries that I'm curious about. There's one called The Donut King, which is about a refugee who came from, I want to say the Dominican Republic, but I'm not 100%, but he came to New York City in the 70s, started this donut business, and then brought over a bunch of other refugees and helped them find work and stuff. So that's one that I'm very excited about. Lots of genre stuff, as I said, some sci-fi, some horror, lots of different shorts and whatnot. But as far as stuff that's up already, we just put up on Monday, I believe it was, the review of The Dark and the Wicked, which is the new Brian Bertino movie. He did The Strangers and The Monster, very talented Texas director. And just last night, I put up my review of, it's a new series on Hulu, which is called A Teacher, and it's FX by way of Hulu, and it's based on a 2013 film about a older, kind of hot Texas teacher who starts a relationship. Yep, big time pedophile. Yeah, it's a hottie who starts sleeping with her senior from her high school English class.
Students? It's okay then. It's fine.
Yeah, it's that South Park episode. If the genders were reversed, it would be a completely different sort of situation. But so the first 3 episodes went on Hulu last night, and Kate Mara is the lead woman, and the kid is okay and stuff. But
Kate Mara's a pedophile?
Kate Mara is the pedo, yeah, and
it's Nick Robinson, right? That's the guy. He played in Love, Simon, I think.
Oh yeah, okay. I don't know the name of the actor, but he was totally in Love, Simon. It's the same kid. Yeah, he plays the senior who's in her English class, and she starts tutoring him, and then it just. And she's in this marriage, but the husband doesn't seem like a bad person at all, and she doesn't seem troubled or messed up. It was very strange, but it was well acted, and I can only imagine how dark this series is going to go. I was just like, man, I want more Mandalorian instead of watching shit like this.
I've been in a shitty marriage. Never have I thought, you know what, I need a 14-year-old's perspective to help me.
Yeah.
She's a pedophile. No, that's what this is. Pedophilia. Pedophilia. Yeah. I don't care if he's 17, 18. People's brains don't stop developing till they're 25. She's a pedophile.
Oh yeah, it's a cautionary tale for sure. I can already tell. Although the first 3 episodes are just laying that proverbial
Chauncey,
groundwork.
I dare you to just let that be your review on Rotten Tomatoes.
She's a pedophile. I don't know why you guys keep telling these kind of stories like they're engrossing. She's a pedophile. I don't find anything sexy about their makeout scenes. None of that.
Oh,
They make out?
I'm sure they do.
Oh.
Yeah, it's about a sexual relationship between these two.
I don't know why, and that's what I mean. I'm like, this stuff is like, are you condemning it, or are you is it kind of gratuitous? Which is it? Would you do that if it was a man, an older man, and a young woman? Like, is that Lolita? Like, I know that was weird. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see that.
So
would the opposite of Lolita be Alita?
I'd like to lead it.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's just weird to me. Like they always, and that's kind of. It's like I don't know. I just don't feel like we need movies like that. Even if it really happened, we need to just condemn it. It's pedophilia. Even if it's a woman, women can be pedophiles. And there's just this weird notion that if she's a woman and he's a guy, that it's not, that, but it totally is. She's a pedophile.
What if the movie is perhaps stepping over the line to tell the message? Like is that
possible?
Well, I just watched Cuties, and for as much as it's got backlash, yes, it is a bit disgusting and horrible, but the message of the movie is this is what you people are doing. Why are you having fucking beauty pageants for 6-year-olds? You people are doing this, yet you're looking down on this, but you created this environment. So who are you to judge what this film is?
Yeah, maybe that's it. I just wonder how many sex scenes and all that they're going to show in this,
Well, I mean, it is FX, so I mean, they can push the boundaries a little bit, I guess, but there wasn't even anything until the last episode, and that was like clothes on in the back of a car, very brief, and the episode was over. And the thing is, it is written and directed by a woman, and they say at the end of each of the 3 episodes, just because it's happening, it's not okay if you or someone needs to address this situation, needs help, or feels strange about stuff that's going on with you and a teacher. They have a website that they at the end of every single episode. So I do feel like it has admirable intention behind it. So.
Yeah,
I'd like it better if they weren't attractive. That would make it more believable to me. Like Kate Mara is attractive. If it were, I don't know, me in drag. Then
don't sell yourself short, sir.
But that's not the way it happens either, though, right? I mean, I've seen the real versions of some of those people. They weren't horrible looking either. Some of those, the real. I mean, there was that one teacher
in Florida
had like kids with her guy.
Yeah, there was one in Florida. It was like you needed to go after 14-year-olds.
That's why she was a pedophile, right? Because it's not about how attractive they are. It's not about that. It's not the fact that she can't get a man her own age. She doesn't want really a man her own age. She has some tendencies towards pedophilia. Doesn't matter how they look.
Mental sickness there.
It's a mental sickness.
I can wrap my head or see. It's just I'm fascinated by so many things that make us different. Like I can. Let me skate around these words very carefully.
I was about to say.
So there's a fetish where men prefer women who appear to be clean, for lack of a better term.
You mean like baby talk or like
no, not baby talk, but not yet progressed with their
innocent.
Sure. Hairless, is that a better word for you?
Like shaved. Okay.
Yeah. So that
oh, geez. Okay. Now I know where you're going. I didn't think that's what you were referring to.
I'm really trying to juggle chainsaws here.
Flaming chainsaws.
But I get it. Is that some type of weird fetish of not wanting a woman who has developed long enough to start having pubes or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I
then,
don't know. I think it depends on if they're attracted to the look on it or if it's more so this, your pubes rub against my dick and it's like, this is hurting. So can you shave it? So I just prefer that. I think it's the difference. I think it's the same thing.
In the wrong area if you're rubbing.
I don't know. Like, it depends on, it's the same thing like why some guys might want some girl who's like really, really thin because maybe that plays into,
Well, the flip side is men don't really grow into their business until mid late teens. So why would that? I don't know why that would be attractive. A boy who hasn't aged. Well, I guess it's the same thing.
She's a pedophile.
Yeah.
She's a pedophile.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a simple explanation here.
She's a pedophile.
You're right. There's no way around it. There's I don't know. I need a new channel where I just talk about things that are really, really fascinating to me, and maybe I won't offend anybody.
I always go back to an old episode of Smallville where one of Clark's teachers suddenly starts hitting on him, and even like middle school me who watched that show because Lana Lang is so hot, but like even me back then was like, this feels weird.
See, so I felt weird a while back. I watched Beautiful Girls when it came out.
Uma Thurman, right?
Yes, Natalie Portman and I are very close in age. We're either a year apart or 2 years apart. Natalie Portman plays a 15-year-old girl who's the neighbor, and she's I don't know if you'd call it flirty. She's just being friendly with the neighbor dude, and he's having this struggle. Like, this neighbor girl's like there's never a kiss, there's never anything weird. It's wholesome, but there's that underlying thing where it's like, wow, if only you were 3. I think he actually says something like that. If only you were 3 years older, maybe I'll come back and look you up. But I was smitten for that Natalie Portman character, but I was her age back then.
Yeah.
But now I watch it now and I'm like, wait a minute, am I allowed to be smitten now? Because this is.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know, like. I don't know. Like, are you still attracted to her looking at the 15-year-old version? Or do you think Natalie Portman, as the 30-something-year-old woman that she is, she still stayed hot and I like her, There's a difference.
It's just strange when you watch a movie and like I don't know. I really want to turn my brain off sometimes. I think that's all. Because it just thinks too much. I'm like, shut up, just stop with this.
That was after Leon the Professional, I want to say, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Which, by the way, I worked at the theater. She used to live out here in Long Island. I didn't work at the time, but there's this big story. We had a note up on the wall that her parents complained they wouldn't let her into the theater because it was rated R. She was in the fucking thing, and they wouldn't let her in.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. So, Lindsay, I know you have a tight schedule. You got to go. Do we have any last things to discuss? I know I said something about fan films. I will discuss that at a later date because they're getting out of hand.
As long as
a quick thumbs up, thumbs down for the newest Don't Hike Alone or Don't Walk in the Snow, or what's it called?
Well, I mean, the one you got to talk about is Voorhees because that was.
No. Yeah, two of these for Voorhees.
Yeah.
Okay. The original one's Never Hike Alone, right? Because I kind of like
Never Hike Alone. Never Hike in the Snow is a first piece. It's like a series, and it's a first piece of I think 5 episodes.
Yeah, and Vinny has that super cut of the music video, the prequel, and the original Never Hike that's coming out on Friday.
Yeah. Never Hike. The Never Hike series is probably the platinum grade for fan films, and that's not to say that it's only his film. There are some other A+ style fan films. Yeah,
the one that Jimmy Champagne did recently, I actually quite liked. I thought that was pretty damn good.
Happy Halloween, I think it was called.
It was good.
There's some good Harry Potter ones out there, like not even all English too.
Some Star Wars ones too. They made one about Darth Maul that was Really impressive.
Oh yeah.
Shit, man, they did the one with Predator in like medieval times or something. That was badass.
I'm checking that out later.
I need the title.
That's from a number of years ago, yeah. And I think they did a Batman versus Alien one at one point. I mean, fan films have been a big thing for a while, but we're just seeing this huge upheaval of them, and they're kind of becoming a dime a dozen. I'm with you, CP. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of talented filmmakers that are using. I don't want to say exploiting, but they're using
it's a way to get noticed. Like the guy who made Chronicle and then Fant Four Stick before Hollywood shunned him, but now he's allowed to make movies again. The thing that got him Chronicle, or at least like got Chronicle off the ground, was like a party video with like a band playing, and then two guys start fighting, and then they whip out lightsabers right there in the party. And
Josh Trank did that. Yeah.
That's
and the 10 Cloverfield Lane guy did a similar thing for Portal. If you know what the game Portal is.
It's one thing if you think you're a talented filmmaker and you're trying to get your foot in the door and you're trying to jump up and down and get somebody's attention, but it's the other thing where, like, I get it, you're a fan of this franchise, but you got to put some work into it. You have to, like, I like Jason too. Look, I have a mask. Does that mean I just fucking film it and say, "Hey guys, I made a movie"?
But it's like, I mean, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of them.
Good.
Maybe
stay away.
That's the thing. There's a lot of them.
Kind of like fan fiction. Like no one tells someone who writes. I mean, I've read some crappy fan fiction of shows I love. I don't tell them, "Hey, stop writing them." I sift through those. I mean, it's someone's choice, isn't it? It's not like they got paid. It's a love letter.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But at the same time, if you're going to put it out there, you're subjecting yourself to get critiqued.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I guess I don't know the controversy of it. Are people mad that people are like ragging on their stuff and they're like, "How dare you rag on my fan film?" Because if that's the case, it's like, no, you put anything online, you're opening yourself up to it. Just get ready for it, and it's not a get out of jail free card that it's a fan film. Yeah, people are going to be a little selective of the reviews that there's. Oh, I see. Okay, that's okay. I thought y'all were talking about like no one make a family. No, not at all.
I think the biggest difference here, and shout out to Cecil, obviously, who's working on Dylan's New Nightmare, which Vince from Womp Stomp, who's behind Never Hike Alone, is producing. We're very excited about that. I think the toughest thing with fan fiction versus fan films is most fan films, they're asking other people to pay for them. Whereas, with fan fiction, you just do it all yourself, and there's no it's just your time and your effort. You're not asking other people to fund your project. Yeah, and that's another ball game. Yeah, and that's where Voorhees, not to like get all, throwing them under the bus big time, because you could tell that they tried to a degree, but it felt very amateurish. Well, and they did what, 3 different crowdfundings?
Three crowdfunding.
They did 3 different ones, according to Cecil, I believe.
So this is my mentality. Listen, I didn't contribute a penny. I helped the guy. I
was saying we did too for over 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. Spreading the word, And then when an honest opinion kind of comes out, then we get a bunch of shit for it.
That's not cool. That's just me wasting my time. I wasted 99 minutes of my time watching that movie and giving my honest opinion. Had I spent, I don't know what the minimum was, $10.
Oh, it was 99 minutes?
Yeah.
It was a feature movie. It was a feature length. Okay.
That's another ball. That's another ballpark on top.
So had I spent $10 on that thing, I would have told them, you need to fix this, because this isn't worth $10. This is a first draft. You need to cut this. Right. This is not that's
hard, especially when you're super proud of the thing. I'm not criticizing or demonizing you for doing that, but it's hard to get that feedback.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think that's part of the problem. Anybody who makes a film, you need to have somebody that you trust that will be able to tell you, this kind of sucks.
Proud of the thing. I know. No, I'm not criticizing.
I think YouTube came back. Is someone having their YouTube go back?
Hey.
I thought I was having a stroke. Like, wait, I just said those words. Why am I hearing?
Do you smell toast? What's going on?
Yeah, and I actually, and I have to actually give another plug because here on Friday the 13th, we have our review of Voorhees that's coming up. Myself and Robert gave our overall thoughts, but then Cecil is doing like an extensive deep dive into some of the technical aspects of the film that were lacking. So as opposed to just like raining shit on a movie, actually giving, like in-depth, criticism as opposed to just talking shit, so therein lies the difference.
That's always been my thing. I'll tell you what I think is wrong, but I'll tell you why I think it's wrong. You can call me a hater all you want, but I'll explain. I mean, there's been 3 times where I've had an issue or something that I've brought up with Vince, and twice he's straightened me out. I just don't agree with him with his views on the relationship between Pamela and Jason. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But there's 2 other occasions where I brought something up and he told me why he did a certain thing the way he did. And it turns out that makes sense. Okay, I'm wrong. That makes sense. And that's it. I'm happy to say I'm wrong. But I'm going to tell you why I feel the way I do. And it's a free country. You put it on the internet and I'm going to talk.
That's the thing with any sort of creativity. If you put it out for the public to see, you have to have thick skin. That's
really
just the way of the world.
I know that when my articles get published, occasionally, I know it's on some people. I mean, we were talking about, I deal with people coming at me in all types of ways. You don't do it if you don't feel that, if you can't defend it. Yep, but that's why you make sure you do something you can defend too. Something or at least you can honestly stand behind.
Right. Yeah, as opposed to just saying, "Oh, that sucks," and you're like, "Well, why?" Elaborate. Give me points as to why.
That's what I'm saying.
Use your brain. Think, McFly. Think. You
don't surround yourself with yes men. You have to have somebody that you trust that is there to help you. It doesn't. They're not there trying to destroy your project. Yeah. They're trying to help. They're telling you things that they're giving you notes that you need to work on for the better of the project. And I don't think people like hearing that their precious written, produced, directed by, starred projects aren't perfect. And well,
I mean, why do you think even my beloved Stephen King, in pretty much every one of his books, he thanks his editor? Pretty much every time, you know. So,
yeah. So, So the horror show, they'll be talking about Voorhees on Friday. I'll be doing some sort of weird extravaganza, back and forth between here and Twitch. And I think Cody Leach might join in for a scratch, or I'll go to his channel for a scratch.
You got that awesome box set, dude.
Yeah, I know. I can finally watch the real part 7. And
I forgot about that.
I don't know when or why I'll have something to say about Voorhees and the state of fan films, but
it's a cool name.
It is a great name, and it takes you. It takes 97 minutes to figure out why the name of the film is Voorhees.
So you all saw it?
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's free.
Okay.
Yeah, it's free.
I'm not gonna look at it probably. I don't know. I might take a glance, but 99 minutes on a fan. I don't know.
If you're thinking about it, I can send you a box of sharp items, and you just open it and just put it over your head. You can do that instead and save yourself about 90 minutes.
It's so funny. Like one of my guilty pleasures on YouTube is abridged anime. They take the visuals and they redub the dialogue, and when it's great, I absolutely love it. But like, there's also ones that I'll click on to watch. I know within 30 seconds I'm gonna hate it, and if I don't turn it off now, it's gonna get really bad. Just because just the style of jokes that they're doing and stuff. That's it. Fan things can be great, but they're also not great sometimes.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a snob, and when you don't list a cinematographer in your 99-minute film, I get really nervous.
At least credit the tripod. Come on, like.
A camera operator. Just tell me who operated the camera. You don't have to give me a director of photography. You don't have to call him a cinematographer. Somebody held the camera. Who was it? Oh, okay. So that's take
Yeah,
my-
well, I mean, shit. At least Robert Rodriguez without mariachi, they were like, shot, edited, directed, written by Robert Rodriguez. At least there was that.
Also, El
ownership.
Mariachi is amazing. I
It's
love
so
that.
It's
good.
really good, yeah.
They made that for like next to nothing. It's inspiring, man.
He's
Yeah.
educated though. Like some people
Yeah.
think they can show up and make movies, and that's just not the way it is. Like you got to know something about what you're doing.
He's got supplemental material, Rodriguez, on a lot of his releases. It's like this Renegade Film School stuff. It is enlightening stuff, man.
Yeah.
It seriously is.
You hear about Tarantino? The guy watched like 5,000 movies because he worked at a video store, and like, he was just teaching himself. I don't know what my point is, but
Anyway, but we did end up talking about the title of this week's show business. Even though it was right at the very end.
I'll switch it in post. But thank you to those who are watching in the future. If you managed to traverse through this while we were live, thank you. I think
crossed YouTube still exists tomorrow. Like,
Well, it looks like it's back up because I just signed on to the link, and we're back to video, so we maintained somehow.
What Fuego? What do we got coming this week? Anything important?
You've got Freaky, which comes out on Friday. That's the biggest release. That's the one from the Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You writer-director. It's basically an R-rated version of Freaky Friday with Vince Vaughn and a girl switching bodies.
Yeah,
because he's a serial killer.
It looks fun, man. I like Happy Death Day. Yeah.
Me too. I'm down.
I like the first one.
Yeah, second one went more like full-on sci-fi, less slasher.
It didn't know what genre it wanted to be anymore.
Who needs a genre? Huzzah!
That movie. They needed to pick.
Okay, fair.
Okay, so for Chauncey, Lindsay, Fuego, IMCP, we'll see you next week at the regular time, right, guys? Monday?
Yes, indeed.
So Monday it is. Have a healthy week and be healthy. It's getting a little dangerous out there. So take care of yourselves, guys. Thank you.
Amen.